Hello and welcome to Personable, a podcast focused on speaking to the world's best, enabling you to become the best that you can be. Whether you're a first-time listener or returning, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Currently, only 3 out of 100 subscribers are currently subscribed, so make sure to subscribe to get us to our goal of 1,000 subscribers before we get back to Duke in the Fall. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Jadyn Donovan. Jadyn is a member of the Sisterhood, also known as a basketball player at Duke University. She has won the prestigious Under-19s FIBA gold medal for the Team USA. She has also been on the ACC All-Defensive Team. I've been watching Jadyn for a while, seeing her a few times at Cameron Indoor at Duke University and seeing that she's clearly one of the stars of the show. And so it's very exciting to see a potential future leader within the WNBA and to be able to have her on my podcast at such an early stage. So Jadyn, thank you very much for coming on today. I wanted to get started by asking you if you could take me on the journey from your first finding your passion for basketball and playing at Duke University.
Yeah. I guess the journey of finding my passion, I don't even know. It was so like not abnormal, but I mean, I just started playing basketball just for fun because I like playing it. I had a church league when I was like around 9 or 10 years old, and we played every Saturday at night, and it'd be like the biggest thing in my life at the time. Like I would even like, unfortunately, I wasn't focusing on church. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to play basketball. But yeah, no, I played for that team, and then my mom wanted me to go to a Baptist school in Maryland. But she wanted me to do like she wanted me to play volleyball and basketball, and that's where I met my first AAU coach, Coach Lonnie Harrell, and he kind of like introduced me to like AAU and like what basketball can actually bring in, like playing at the collegiate level and hopefully pro. But yeah, I mean, it was just like I don't know, I was just like kind of going through the motions and just like, oh, I like to play basketball, and then like after I started playing AAU, I like found out I was very competitive and I like to talk a lot of crap on the court. So like I was like, oh snap, I feel like I could play this further. So
What was like the initial moment that realized? Because I think there's a lot of kids that actually want to go and
yeah,
play basketball on both the men's and women's side at a higher level. But what was the sort of stage when you realized, hey, I'm not just interested in this
yeah,
game, I'm really good at it and I can potentially take it to the next level?
yeah. Honestly, I think it was my first tournament with Coach Lonnie. The team is called Coach Prime. I'm sorry, Team Prime,
Yeah.
and we played at a gym in New York. I remember like it was yesterday. It was in Brooklyn, New York. It was like upstairs, like in this like small school, and it was for this big tournament. And I didn't know it was a big tournament at the time. I had like a big jersey, big shorts. Like I was like not supposed to be there. Like I was playing up, and I'm playing against Hannah Hidalgo. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but she's a very big name now.
Yeah.
We're playing against each other, and we're just going back and forth. And I'm like, I love this. Like I love the competitive energy. I love like like all the fans and the coaches watching and things like that. And it was still kind of a game to me. I mean, it still is, but more of just like a playful game. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you did so well." I mean, I lost that game. I remember I lost the game, but everyone's like, "You did so well. You're so good. You're so great." I'm like, I mean, I just felt like playing basketball, and then I kind of realized that I could possibly like be like very good at it if I like put a lot of effort and just extra energy. I should say I put in effort, but training and things like that. So.
Was there ever, and maybe it's different coming from somewhere like the UK to the US, but I feel like growing up, we're kind of categorized into, for me, a
Mhm.
boy would play something more like rugby and the
Yeah.
girls meant to be more feminine, do something more
Right.
like ballet or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there ever a perception when you were growing up that you maybe shouldn't have played basketball or that
Mhm.
wasn't a thing to do? And what sort of advice would you give to younger girls growing up that also would like to, play basketball and play
Yeah.
sport, but they're told, hey, you shouldn't play those sports?
Yeah. Um. Honestly, I don't think I had that issue growing up. There was definitely no one like me around me though, if that makes sense. I like in my family's from the Caribbean, from the British Virgin Islands, and um, like no one played like basketball at a high level, and like so there was no like person I could look up to in that aspect. Obviously, I had my dad who claims to give me all my basketball skills, but like there was no one that was like playing like how I was playing, and like we're also Seventh Day Adventist, which means that we have church on Saturdays, and
Yeah.
like it just is hard to play basketball on the weekends with that. But honestly, I say to girls who are like struggling with that, just like with your identity or just like oh, I don't want to like go against what I've and how I've been brought up and things like that. Like it's not all like it's not as big as we make it seem. I mean, like I still, in terms of my religion, I'm still very like religious, and like I mean, I don't think anyone's ever been like, oh, you can't play basketball because you're a girl. Like, I think we're in a different time in life now, which is, I love. But yeah, I just say just go for it. I mean, don't let the fear of like, I remember when I first started playing, I was like, oh, I can't miss church or like I can't
Yeah.
not go to church on the weekends. Like, just do it. I mean, no one's gonna like kill you over it. Like, you're gonna be forgiven. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah.
So at some point, it becomes pretty obvious, and I'm sure that people around you are telling you that you're sort of like an exceptional talent within
Mhm.
within high school. Where did the sort of name Duke come from? Like, was it
Yeah.
something you'd always kind of looked up to growing
Yeah.
up? Was it something you only found in the recruiting process?
Mhm.
Can you talk a bit about your recruitment process and why you chose Duke?
Yeah, what's so funny? I would never would have imagined I would go to Duke, like at all. Like if you said you're gonna go play for Kara Lawson at Duke University, I'm like you're joking. Like there's no way. I thought I was gonna go to like I don't know, like the UConns and like the Notre Dames and things like that. But no, yeah, I mean Duke came up like my eighth grade year, ninth
Yeah.
grade, like early my high school career, I'd say. Um, and Coach Kara, she was fairly new to the program. And she's like, hey, like I've seen your like film and stuff, and like we watched you play a couple times. Like we're interested. And I don't think she gave me an offer until like maybe I was a junior, which is like kind of late because like a lot of coaches like to just dish out offers and be like, come to our school. So I was
Yeah.
like, she does not like me. So I was like, it was a weird dynamic because I was like, like I like Duke and I like you and I know you like me, but like we're like I don't know. It was
Yeah.
just a weird dynamic. So yeah, I they came up like late in my recruiting process, or just like my offer was late in my recruiting process, and I did not think I was gonna go even like honestly up until like maybe a month before I committed. Like I was like fully convinced I was gonna go to Notre Dame, which my coach knows now, so it's okay. But I was like fully convinced I was gonna go to Notre Dame and play there. But that goes back to the whole fear thing I was talking about. I was just like kind of afraid of something new, and like as I said, she was new to the program when I was being recruited by her, and I was just like afraid that I would like I don't know. I would go into a program that wasn't going to be built up to like the expectation of like a successful college career. So now that is not the case, and I'm glad I took that leap of faith. But at the time, I was like, "There's no way I'm going to do this." So, but now I love it and happy with my decision.
So you looked up to Duke, as it's very obvious from your excitement.
Yeah,
What were your sort of like assumptions or thoughts about what Duke was going to be like versus
yeah,
what's it like in reality?
yeah. Okay, so I went to Sidwell Friends for high school, and I would say that it's a smaller Duke in a way. Like it's very similar in terms of like the personality of the people here, the staff, literally like even to the architecture. Like it's just like like the old like cathedral type of vibe. Um, so like that's what I was expecting because I mean I visited the campus before, and I've like talked to like some of the girls on campus and things like that when I had my visits. So my expectation and my reality weren't much different. Um, but I do think that a reality part that I was not expecting was it to be extremely hard um, athletically. Like academically, I was like, oh, obviously Duke is a very well
Yeah.
educated school, but yeah, athletically, I was not expecting it to be as difficult as it is and has been. Um, and yeah, that was something that I think was like kind of like a shocker to me. Just like I was like, whoa, like this is not like high school, and obviously I knew it would be different, but I didn't know it was as hard as it is. So
Is there anything that, makes there's often talk about the brotherhood and the
mhm,
sisterhood. Is there anything that you found particularly unique about Duke or any
yeah,
like inside traditions, or is there any particular reason it's more of a focus on a family
yeah.
versus than just simply having players?
Yeah. That is one of the funny. That's the funny thing you said because that is like my biggest thing about whenever I tell anyone about Duke, I'm like, I just love the people there. Like I just love my teammates. Like those are literally my sisters. Like when I'm like trying to explain it to people, like it's like it sounds so cliche. Like oh my sisters in the sisterhood, but like those are like
Yeah.
my family. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if Duke is just really lucky at picking the right girls to mix with each other or what. But I mean, we have never had any like major issues, anything like that. Like we just like support each other fully and like I mean, like after this, I'm gonna go hang out with them and get our nails done. It's just like things like that,
Yeah.
and like it seems normal, and like I thought it was normal, but like when you hear like obviously you connect with so many people in the sports world, and like when you hear like different stories, you like hear like girls fighting and like not even fighting, but just like it's just not the same type of dynamic, not the same type of vibe, and it's like just unfortunate because like you think everyone has the same experience as you, but yeah, no, I think the biggest thing is just that they just pick the right people and like they take a very like they take pride in selecting people that they think would mesh with each other. Like, I mean, as I said, I didn't get my offer till like my junior year, and I don't know if they're waiting for my personality to develop or what. But like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like I don't know. They just like take pride in like taking time with who they select to be a part of the sisterhood. So
I know that the number is not zero in either the women's or the men's program, but it's definitely a very, very low number of the people that
Yeah.
actually leave in the
Yes.
transfer portal.
Yeah.
And we're going to get on more towards NIL later in the
Mhm.
conversation, but why do you think, like, money aside, that people are choosing to stay at Duke versus other schools? What are other schools missing that's
Yeah.
keeping such a high retention of Duke versus other
Right.
schools?
Yeah. Honestly, I'd have to say it might have to be that sisterhood, brotherhood. Um, I just think, like as I said, it's very hard athletically to play, D1 sports. And I feel like the people that you surround yourself with, that like makes a huge impact, way more than we think it does. And like, I mean, to be in a program that you might not mesh well with the coach, or might not mesh well with like your locker mate. Like, I mean, it's just like little things like that. Like it builds up over time, and we might think like, oh, I can handle it for like 4 years, but I mean, you cannot, because like you're with those people more than you are with your family, like more than you are with your mom and dad and things like that. So I think it's just the power of, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like just the power of
Yeah,
like the sisterhood, and just like having a community where people like support each other and love each other. And obviously there's difficult times, but I mean, like at the end of the day, it's not like you would want to go anywhere else and have those difficult times, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think it's very obvious, why Duke is such a good place for the players, the community aspect, the emphasis on the sisterhood, the record to success, having someone like Cara Lawson who's,
Yes.
helped to train the overall Olympic team.
Hmm.
What do you think specific around the way you play made you such an asset to the Duke women's basketball team? Like, what do you think it was about your mindset, mentality, and the way that you play basketball
Yeah.
that fit into Cara Lawson's view on what she wanted in her team?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I remember in our conversations when I was getting recruited here was just like my versatility and my ability to play whatever position she asked. And at the time when she was saying that, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like I play my one position and that's what I do. But she like had this big vision for me, just to like be this all around player. And that's something I've definitely taken pride in since I've gotten here. Just like, kind of be indisposable, just like, whatever they need me to do, I'll do. But yeah, I think she really liked my versatility, and just like obviously my athleticism is a big thing, my block shots and things like that,
Yeah.
my defensive energy. But yeah, I think just the ability to be versatile is like, it's way more popular now. But like I feel like when I was getting recruited, like not many people could play 1 through 5, or guard a guard and then guard a post player who's like 6 inches taller than them. So like little things like that, I just think that she took pride, and she kind of saw a bigger vision for me. It wasn't like I was like the most prolific shooter, or like
Yeah.
the best rebounder, but I think it's just the way that she saw a lot that could happen, within my abilities.
Yeah, I think there's a big focus on your performance on the court, and that'll be my next area of focus. But what are some things that people don't see, behind the scenes? Because even after getting into a place like Duke, I know basketball's a sport with high turnover, and a lot of the people on the bench end up coming on the court, but you
Yeah.
still have your 5 starters.
Yeah.
And as well as that, you've still got to compete for your spot. So
Mhm.
what do people not see? How do you go about competing for your spot and to say week in, week out, I am the best of what
Yeah.
we've got to offer, Cara, put me on the court.
Yeah. Honestly, if I'm being truthful, I've honestly struggled with that, just because, like, you know, for me when I first got here, I was like, this is my best. This is all I like. This is all I got. And they were like, that's not good enough. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, it's just like I'm pouring out everything I possibly feel like I can onto the court, and then like I feel like for me, there's just like a breaking point, not breaking point, but like I don't know, like I kind of got over a hill, like I think my freshman winter, uh, and like I don't know, I just started playing better, or like more free, and like
Yeah.
I don't think it has any expectation to do, like it doesn't have anything to do with people's expectations, but like your own personal expectations. At least that's how it is for me. Just because like you hear your coaches say, we want this for you, we want you to do this. We think you can play like this person, and you can help us get 10 points a game, things like that, and like you have all those things, and then it kind of weighs on you heavy. And that it did that for me when I first got here. And like as you said, competing for your spot, I didn't realize how competitive it would be, just because like everyone's great, everyone can like at any day like play my position. And it's not because like they're better than me or like worse than me. It's just we're all interchangeable. It's just like whoever can do it the most consistently. So yeah, I think the practices are very competitive, and like I mean, it has taught me to literally go hard in literally everything I do. And as I said, I thought I was doing that when I first got here, and I was mistaken for sure. But yeah, I think it's a good trait to have though also. Just like I feel like even like when I work out by myself or like when I'm working out in the like weight room or something, like I just remembered like there's no missed reps and like don't like cut yourself short. Um but yeah, no, it's definitely a very highly competitive practices. Feels more competitive than the games, like a lot of the times. So yeah.
There are two sort of key things which I kind of latched onto in what you said. The first one being that your coaches were telling you to do something and you thought you'd reached your capacity and they
Yeah.
said, we expect more from you.
Yeah.
And the second thing I thought was interesting is that when you've got that increased stress, when you've got the increased
Yeah.
expectation of this is what you want from you and you don't think you can perform,
Hmm.
instead of getting more stressed, more anxious and not being able to make shots, you
Hmm.
actually became more free, able
Right.
to take the right shots, able
Yeah.
to move in the right way. I
Hmm.
think that's something that can be transferred across business, across sport, into a whole load of other things.
Hmm.
How do you go against that when, stress is piling up and you're
Yeah.
being told by everyone else how to act, how to be, what to do?
Hmm.
How do you go about reversing that to, maybe go one step back, but two
Yeah.
steps further?
Yeah. Exactly what you just said. I was gonna say that like for me when I first started feeling all these feelings and emotions, I was like, I don't know what the world to do. Cause like I mean, I came in a very highly ranked athlete out of high school and like obviously there's expectations from that and expectations for myself. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like I feel like I'm crashing. And I literally had to take a step back and like go watch film, like, go into the gym by myself or, literally meditate before I would go on the court. Just like simple, like things that you don't think you need, things that like may seem like weird or abnormal or like just like extra or dramatic or per se. Like I feel like those little like things really helped me kind of get past it. Like kind of reminded me of like who the player I am, what I'm able to do. And it was never that my coaches gave me expectations to be harsh or rude or anything like that. It's just like, I mean, you go to work every day and you have, an
Yeah.
expectation. You like, we want this done by 5 p.m. before you leave. And it's like, it's not like if it's not done the correct way, then obviously there's issues about that. But yeah, I just think that really taking a step back and trying to, I don't know, figure out what works best for you and what makes you kind of calm down a bit and just like remember who you are because I do enjoy playing basketball but at that time I was like there was a time where I like really enjoyed this and like I remember the days and like I would go play in New York and in the tournament so like yeah just like taking a step back I think was my biggest thing.
Yeah, you mentioned still that emphasis on focusing. I kind of want to go a bit deeper into that.
Mhm.
You kind of had a self-conceived notion of where you thought your limit was,
Yeah.
but both having that internal limit and then having coaches saying you can be better than that,
Yeah.
but also the focus on the reps thing. You said you
Yeah.
pushed yourself hard in the gym when no one was watching.
Hmm.
When no one's watching, what was that sort of like internal motivation or even discipline that
Yeah.
keep pushing further and harder? And how did you keep the discipline up whilst also enjoying and keeping the game of basketball
Yeah.
fun?
Yeah, it's actually funny. So I have this thing where like if I don't want to do something, like let's say it's working out. If I don't want to go shoot, I'm gonna make myself shoot. Like if I don't want to, I don't know, do 20 minutes of running, I'm literally gonna have to go do the running now because like I don't want to do it. Like
Yeah,
discipline. It's just like, and I learned that like maybe I would say maybe over a year and a half ago, like very recently. But just that like those times where you don't want to do something, those times where you're like looking in the mirror, like, yeah, I'm not going to do it today. I feel like those are the times where you push yourself the furthest. And like, that's what I feel like my coaches were doing for me. Like, oh, couldn't see myself like, you know, going any harder in a sprint. But I mean, there was something that they saw and they've seen it done before. And that is like something I know that I could possibly do. So yeah, I think the discipline of being able to do something, push yourself past the point where like, oh, like I'm in the gym by myself. No one's watching. Like no one's gonna care that, I did 19 shots instead of 20. But it's like
yeah.
you should do it. That you have to do it. So yeah,
But
I think
why? Why does that matter to you? Why did you decide a year and a half ago that I want to
yeah.
push past those limits when I find things that are hard?
Right. Yeah, I think it's just a commitment that I made to myself. Like, I mean, I told myself I wanted to be best of the best, and I know that the best of the best are not cheating reps. I know that the best of best are like, getting in extra shots, lifting to the best of their abilities, not, cheating a rep short. So I think that when I told myself I wanted that, my actions also had to follow. And I couldn't just like go through the motions like high school days and you do like everything not handed to me but like it's a bit easier in high school to get all the accolades and things like that so like even like with defense like that was a big goal for me just like to make some defensive recognition this year and like I had to like be very deliberate in my approach to, like, every person I guarded, I made sure that I watched their film by myself, or like I wrote down notes about the specific person or extra for scout. Like, I think it's a commitment that you make to yourself that you, like, at least for me, I can't let that up. I can't let that, younger Jadyn, down. So I think that is my biggest thing.
How have you noticed? I mean, I keep coming back to that point of the limits. I just think it's really impressive for
Yeah,
one to you to have gone from a position where you thought you had limits in yourself and to break
yeah.
past that, but
Hmm.
also having good mentors to tell you can push through that. Have
Right.
you noticed any, changes both internally in how you perceive yourself and also on the court over the past 1 or 2 years while you've been at Duke and
Yeah.
changed your mindset shift?
Yeah. No, I think I'm still working on the whole internal mindset thing. Like, that is something I still definitely have to work on. But I do think there has definitely been a shift from my freshman year to sophomore year. I think there's been more confidence and more certainty that I can do the things that I'm being asked. I think my freshman year, I felt like, and everyone says it's like you feel like you're drowning your freshman year, like you're just trying to like stay afloat and like just make it past every day. But sophomore year, I think with experience and with coaches that have seen me play a year, and this also watching film or being in it for a year, I think that allowed me to kind of get past. It's just like growth. It's like growing pains. It's like you have to get through hard stuff to feel better, and like I think that was what it was for me. Just like I literally had to go through growing pains, and it sucked for a while, but then I was able to get past it. And I guess I'm trying to figure out how I can answer, like, how I got past it. I think it was just with time and just consistency and not giving up. I mean, there was like times where I definitely didn't was like, okay, this is it. Like, this is as much as I can give you, and like if I
Yeah,
don't start, I don't start. If I don't play well, I don't play well. And I'm like, but is that what I want? That's not what I told myself I wanted. And that,
yeah.
I think, when you want something, you'll make a way for it. Like, you will get to it however you can. So, yeah.
I want to go back to the moment and less of a focus on, physically what happened or what
Yeah.
people saw and how you performed, but
Hmm.
more of a focus on like how you felt.
Yeah.
What was it like when you first stepped on the Duke basketball court and, actually played your first game and,
Hmm.
at Duke?
Yeah. No, I felt amazing. Like, we had a, like, I forget what they call it, games, but it's like our kind of like our scrimmage before we start the actual season, and I felt like a
Countdown.
million
Is it
bucks.
countdown to craziness? Is
Well,
that it?
yes, countdown to craziness, but there's like a actual game that we have
Okay.
called, I have to remember, but it's basically a scrimmage against like a lower level team. But I played that game and I was like, yeah, this is great. This is like feels just like high school, and like I'm gonna like kill the ACC. Like, I'm gonna be freshman of the year, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, this is good. I think I had like, I'm trying to remember. I think I had like 20 something points, like 8 rebounds, like almost dunked. Like, I was like really going crazy this game, and like it felt great. And then like we got later into the season, and like I started off fine, but yeah, that first chunk of the season, it was kind of like weird. It was like a full 180 of how I thought the season was going to go. Like, because I started off so strong, and then
Yeah.
like going into the actual like games, I was like, wow, this is hard. And like it's hard to be consistent every day. It's hard to give everything every single time. So it was like I don't know, it was a love hate relationship at the beginning of my freshman year.
But what do you like? This seems like an obvious question, but what do you
Mhm.
think is the key differentiator between high school and college basketball? I mean, it's obviously quite obvious to
Yeah,
you having played both, but as a
yeah,
spectator, you
right.
might not be able to notice. And then, as a stage further, like, what have you noticed is the difference between those that actually put the work in and that want to
Mhm.
win, like yourself and like your
Yeah.
teammates,
Mhm.
versus those that go from winning to suddenly losing and
Right.
give up or are not able to perform at the same
Yeah.
highest level?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember your first question. What was your first question? Sorry.
I think my first question was, what's the real difference high school
Oh,
versus
yes,
college?
yes.
And then my second question was like, you
The
know,
difference in the
it's
work.
a yeah difference between a
Yeah.
winner and a loser in this.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, the difference between college and high school, I'd say, is just it's way more competitive. Like, it's hard to be in high school and play against great athletes all the time. And like in college, you build a team of great athletes, Like, so I think it's just like proving yourself every day against like really great players, and then also the speed is ridiculously like it's two different worlds. Like after my freshman year, I was like, please don't let me go back to my high school and play against these girls because like I think I might actually hurt them. Like it's just so much faster, it's so much more physical, and like you're literally thinking so much, but you don't even realize it. Like I can't like ever since I've been in college, I cannot watch a basketball game without thinking of like our plays or like our actions. Like it's like so bad,
Yeah.
but like you are taught so much and you're supposed to consume so much, and it's like fascinating how much your brain can really do. Like I know like whenever I go back to like my AAU program or things like that, the kids are always like, oh my gosh, do you run a lot? How many plays do you know? Like is it a lot? And I'm like, y'all are like, it will work so fast for you guys. Like you don't know how much your brain can really do until you have to do it, and that was how it was for me. But yeah, I think that was the biggest difference, and it's just that I was not at, to your second question, I was not putting in the work needed to play at the level that everyone else was when I first got here. Like I was like, oh, this is like, I'm a great player. Like I'll be fine, you know. And I will go shoot. Sometimes I won't shoot all the time, or like I'll get into practice 30 minutes before it starts, and not an hour and a half before it starts. So like I make a joke that I like had a baby Jadyn and then like a more mature Jadyn, and that I think is what you're saying about winner or the loser. I feel like baby Jadyn was like the loser. Like I was like,
Yeah.
obviously you come in great, and then you think that you can sustain that without any extra effort. And um yeah, I think it's literally just like putting in more work than you think you have to. Like I thought I was doing enough, and I keep saying that, but like you have to do way more than you think you have to. Like last summer, when I wasn't doing rehab, I was working out in the morning. Well, I would go run, work out in the morning, then I would have a workout in the middle of the day, and that would be my day. And I'd be done by like 2, so I wasn't really like feeling
Yeah.
bad for myself or anything. And I would go to like work at Brody. So it was just like, I don't know. I think there has to be like a hustle and a grind to you. Like you have to like, I don't want to say you're born with it, because I don't think.
Yeah.
I think yes, some people are born with it, but I think it's also something you can develop. And I think I developed it more and more. Like I thought I was a hard worker, but like to be at the best, and to be amongst the best, you have to I think reach a different level, which I think Coach Kara and Duke has helped me reach. So
So that I want to delve into that focus from, as you call, baby Jadyn to
yeah,
the Jadyn that's around
yeah,
now, particularly with your one of your main accolades being one of the top defensive players in the ACC.
hmm
I usually ask people from a top-down level, but I want to delve more into the specifics of what that takes. Like,
yeah,
what are some of the basketball technical focuses you have? Are there any particular strategy? You mean you have to talk about the
yeah,
Duke tactics, but are there any particular
yeah, yeah,
strategies or ways of thinking about defense
yeah,
that someone listening to this at home that just simply wants to improve their defense or
yeah,
take their game to the next level can sort of learn?
yeah. Um, well, luckily for me, I feel like I have a cheat code. I have 2 coaches on the staff that they went to Iowa together. They were teammates. But they're really like technical about defense. Like they like the way they break down defense. Is really impressive, and I like admire it. I literally think it's like math. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like I rather do this than math, obviously. But it's just like I don't know, like a crazy division equation. Like it's just like I'm trying to make sure I word this properly. It's just like for me, I'll say what my process is when I am like preparing for a game or preparing to play defense amongst someone. I will, like, as I said, I'll watch film. So we have like scouts that we do for everyone on the team. But then I will know who I'm guarding usually, and then I will break down their film and watch like certain moves they like. So like if you named a player that I had to play against this year, I could probably tell you exactly what hand they like to use, which way they go the most, what their counter move is, and it's just like, as I've been saying, extra things like that. Those have like helped me just like the more you know, obviously, the more you
Yeah.
know, you are just more prepared. And like I would like even my blocks, like I know that this person might pump fake, or I know this person likes to hang in the air a little bit longer than this other person. Like I literally would have to almost stalk in a way, like literally
Yeah.
stalk their game and like make sure I knew every single move they had, because I think when you're one step ahead, then obviously, we're both like they're looking at me like, well, what do I need to do now? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So like it's just like
Yeah.
yeah, I just took pride in like, I don't want to say stalking, that sounds weird, but just like making sure I was like kind of ahead of my player that I was guarding. So
And do you find that most of the time, even in the higher level games, they sort of stick to what they know and stick to their habits, or do you find that they change away from it a little bit?
yeah, I would say yes, just because I couldn't even imagine myself changing up something because someone was guarding me a certain way. I feel like you just have to accept it at that point, and like hope that you catch them lacking or something. But yeah, I feel like no one really, like, they definitely tried, but no one like, became a different player, thankfully. So yeah.
Yeah. But what's the goal in defense? Because let's say you're playing a sport like soccer, like
Hmm.
there's only going to be one, two,
Yeah.
three, five goals would be an insane number for a game.
Right.
So your target is literally to
Yeah.
stop them from scoring at
Yeah.
all costs.
Hmm.
Whereas in basketball, because the velocity of scoring is so much
Yeah.
higher, what's the goal in defense? Is it slowing them down? Is it stopping
Yeah.
them together? Is it a turnover? And how does that change from when you're at the start of the game and towards the end?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me on defense, or what I think of how I think of defense, is like, so I don't score that much, and my coaches get on me for that. We're gonna work on that though. But I don't score as much as I should, and I will shoot the ball more. I made that promise to myself. But how I look at defense is like literally me scoring in a way. Like, if
Yeah,
I can stop this player from scoring, let's say they scored 15 points a game. If I can give them half of that, that's seven. I'm scoring 7 points, like, for my team, like, regardless of if I shot the ball or not. Like, I feel like defense is literally like you're scoring without actually having to play offense. So, like, as you said, it's like you need stops to win a game. They say defense wins championships, and that is the case. I mean, we are a really great defensive team, and being able to stop great players from putting the ball in the basket when they need more points than you do is incredibly impactful. And, like, obviously I've heard that quote before, like, oh, defense wins championships, but like it literally has brought us as far as it has. And like many times people have doubted it, like, oh, they're not going to score as many points. But I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, we score 30 points and they can score 28 and we'll win the game. Like, it doesn't matter, you know? So like, yeah, I think it's really just like it's stopping them from scoring, but it also is like you're scoring in a way because they are not. That makes sense. But yeah, and as you said, to the different times of the games, like, yeah, I think Duke does this. I don't know if every school is like this. I can only speak for us, obviously. But I just feel like we play the same kind of throughout the whole game,
yeah.
regardless if we're up a lot of points or if we're down. Like, we just play hard defensive the whole time. And that's just kind of how we've been trained, I guess, to do. So, yeah.
But even, I mean, this is kind of a ridiculous example, but if I was to imagine the average person against Cooper Flagg, that they've watched every single one of his
Yeah,
games,
yeah, yeah.
every single one of his, they're still not going to be able to stop them.
Right.
And like obviously, like someone else could, respond to my question and say, "Oh, well, Jadyn's played a lot of basketball.
Yeah, yeah,
That's why he's able to stop these players." Like
yeah.
even if I knew someone was going to make XYZ move, it doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean I'm going to be able to stop them. So like
Yeah.
when you're actually in the moment and you think someone's going to do something, like what's your way of moving,
Yeah.
like in your mind that
Yeah.
enables you to actually go and stop people?
Yeah. No, I think I don't want to say it's luck, but I think you have to, like, be well versed. Like, it takes time. Like, I used to be a hacker. Like, I would foul a lot in the games, and like I had to sit myself on the bench because I just would foul so many times because I think I would block their shot and then I just hit their hands. But yeah, I think it takes time, and I think that it's like great reflexes. Like, you have to like be like sharp and quick and like very dialed in and focused. Like, as you said, so you're not. I'm not gonna know. Obviously, I know your counter move, but you're not gonna hit your counter move every single time. And like, there might be a move that I wasn't expecting, or like, you do a spin move or something. Like, I think you just have to be very focused, very like quick reflexes to establish to be able to stop a player. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like, yeah, obviously watching like Cooper, like, you would not be able to like stop him if you watched every single thing. But like, yeah, I think if you have good enough reflexes and like, great enough physicality, it's possible.
Yeah, on that point of Cooper Flagg, I mean, obviously he's got, national and international attention, being the prospected, number one pick in the NBA draft. What's the crossover between the Sisterhood and the Brotherhood, the men's
Yeah.
and women's basketball like? Like, is it good? Do you guys have good relationships? Do you play with each other? Do you learn from them? And what was it like to play with or to at least learn from and
Right.
interact with the phenom like Cooper Flagg?
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it's so weird because, like, obviously I've been here for this about to be my third year, but like seeing them come in and out, like all these like star players, and people are like so fond of them, and I understand, I get it, but it's just like it's so weird because like
They're
I
not
just
that
pass
cool.
them in
They're
the
not that
hall,
cool.
I just pass them in the hallway, and I'm like, hey, what's up, and like keep it pushing, and that, and
Yeah.
to me, like, I guess because it's so normal for us as Duke students, like, just to see them around campus and things like that, and like watch them play, in Cameron, but it is really like I think I take it for granted, honestly, because like, I mean, my freshman year there was like Sean Stewart, Caleb Foster,
Yeah.
TJ Power, Jared McCain. So like there was that four, and then there was my four, myself, Aluchi, Okanawa, Delaney Thomas, and Jordan Wood. So it was like we called ourselves the Crazy Eight, and like we would hang out with each other, and like we were like pretty close with them. I mean, I would say that they were more close just because I was gone for USA, so I didn't establish the strongest relationship. But like they're such cool guys, and like um yeah, I think it's just like it reminds me of how like personal people really are, and that like as I said, many people would like love to meet them, shake their hand, and never watch it again, but like they are just people, and they are just like 18, 19-year-old people that are happy to play basketball. We both chose the same university, so yeah, seeing like Cooper in the hallway, like it's just like funny because it's just like, hey, what's up, Cooper, and then like keep it pushing. But yeah, no, it's cool, and it's like, I don't know, it's definitely like, I know when I leave here I'm like, oh my gosh, like why am I not seeing like some five-star athlete just walking down the hall. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's a sort of similar level of person. I'm not as informed about the WNBA this year, but a particularly large figure last year was Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And I feel like even back home in the UK, she was a figure that everyone
Really?
talked about.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it
God.
wasn't just people that, had even
Wow.
heard of basketball were talking about
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark. And you
Wow.
even look at, who she's playing for at the moment, and all of her games are sold out
Yeah.
purely because people just want to watch her. But I
Mhm.
was looking at a lot of the salaries in WNBA, and that's often talked about
Yeah.
versus the NBA being significantly lower. Like I think even someone like her is only earning 70 or 100,000 a year,
Yeah.
and you look at the star power she has. What's your sort of like top-down perspective on the WNBA? Like,
Mhm.
is it the dream? Does money matter? Like, could you just give me your perspective on the WNBA and
Yeah.
how that pieces together in your mind?
Yeah. For me, if you asked me about 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, the WNBA is definitely my dream. Like, no matter what, I'm gonna make it to the league. I'm gonna play, and that's it. And then I got a bit older, and I was like, okay, I need to have a house. I need to have like some incomes,
Yeah,
and things like that. And I like the WNBA. I don't think many people see it as their like end all be all. Like
yeah,
this is what I'm gonna do type of thing. I think it definitely helps with how great of a player you are. So like, um, fun fact, Angel Reese, right?
yes, yes,
Yes. Angel Reese played for my AU program. So she would literally come into the gym and play with us, like in runs and stuff. And she's just as exciting and,
she would
as
play with you.
yeah, she would play with me. Yeah. Yeah, and she's like really like close friends with my teammate. But yeah, no, it was like, so it's like so funny like see how all these people grow. But yeah, so like Angel Reese, like she's a big name in the world of women's basketball, and she, I don't know what her salary is, but I'm assuming it's not the highest. And
Yeah,
she makes a lot of money though, and from like all these different endorsements and things like that. So I think that aspect of the WNBA is not my favorite, just like
yeah,
how there's not enough income. But at the same time, it kind of shows you the power of basketball and the power of like, I don't know, how good you are is, I guess, how much you make, and that I guess that does make sense, and that's how it should be. But yeah, it is my end all be. That is my goal, but definitely have to think of a different option. I feel like after
yeah.
a couple of years, I don't plan on playing for long. Maybe like 5 years or so, and then doing something else.
Yeah, it's interesting because even how you just described the boys, like you guys are literally at the same institution with a similar standard of
Yeah.
performance in basketball,
Yep.
and yet they're described as stars and people that are going to
Right.
change the world. But as you
Yeah.
said, you're just doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, how does that sort of frame up in your mind?
Yeah. You know, as I've gotten older, I've tried to make myself less mad at things. So,
Yeah,
like, I've tried to make peace with the situation. But yeah, it's definitely difficult and definitely like frustrating. Um,
yeah,
Especially coming from like a school like Duke, and it's not like Duke's fault or anything, but it's just like, Duke is like be equal, and like
yeah,
we're like kind of like our little private institution, and like, we just do things differently from everyone else. But at the same time, it's like kind of hard to get away from that. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I guess not standard, but like how the world kind of is and how it's shaped. But yeah, it is like unfortunate that there is a gap like that, just in terms of like pay and just like recognition. Like even like our games, like we would joke about it, like, oh, like they hate us, like just like they're not Duke, but like Duke fans just like only care
yeah,
about men's basketball because like we'd go like try to go shoot extra like during a boys game, which is not recommended, and like we like have to like get stopped by security, and like we'd hear like the gym like roaring with like thousands of fans inside. So like, and it's well deserved, and I support it fully. It's just like it's definitely hard from like going to that and then, a day later to your game on a Sunday or like a Thursday, and then like seeing like maybe 500 people in the stands. So yeah, it's definitely difficult, but at the same time, I think it's more motivation and more like I feel like for me at least, I love playing with a chip on my shoulder. So that's how I look at it, just like as an opportunity to show people, what they're missing out on. And, no matter what, we're playing games to win, not for fans. And not that we don't want them. Let me not make that the case, but just that we play basketball to play basketball. And, yeah.
Does any part of you, think to yourself as someone like Caitlin Clark? And I would actually argue it's not just about how good you are, it's
Mhm.
also about the brand around you, like,
Oh, for sure.
using trash talk to your advantage and making a personality. Like,
Yeah.
one of your friends, Emma, who's created a big
Mhm.
following for herself online.
Yep.
Does any part of you think, like, I want to become someone similar to Caitlin Clark and
Right.
become my own brand and
Mhm.
help to grow the sport by showing my personality,
Yeah.
focusing on impact and bringing people in? Is that sort of a thing, and you're focused on building a brand around yourself and not
Yeah.
just what you do on the court?
Yeah. And I think literally everyone is trying to do that now because they see, as you said, that is a great point, that it really does not matter how good you are. Like, obviously, yes, if you're great, you'll get drafted high, then you'll have all these endorsements, things like that. But like, there are people that make money in college just because they have, high following, and they're really good at making like great TikToks that people want to watch, and are really good at making ads. So like, I think that literally everyone, like, I not stupid, but like it'd be very not smart to not try to create your own brand. And I think I'm in the process of doing that now, just with like different series on my Instagram. But like, yeah, I think literally everyone is trying to, and I definitely know I am. Haven't fully figured it out yet, but
Yeah,
I feel like I have a great personality. But we'll see.
yeah.
I think people like the videos. Usually, the fans come up to me after the games and are like, "Oh, we love your videos." So I take that as a good thing. So
Yeah, no, I can attest to the good personality. We were in a
yes,
project together this past semester, and
yes,
I could agree. If I was pulling out presentations from the middle of nowhere in the class, and every time.
no, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I need a good
Where
word.
where does the balance between being a student and
Hmm.
being an athlete come into play? And do you think there should be a student in the student athlete name at all?
Wait. So are you saying, do I think there should be student and student athlete?
Like, shouldn't like to what extent should it just be athlete? Like, why
Right.
even go to classes? Like, do you
Yeah.
think that should be a thing or not?
Yeah. Honestly, people can get away with that now, unfortunately. Um, I don't know. I think for me personally, and a lot of people I know, I think or at least let me say this, for being a women's basketball player or a women's athlete, I feel like it's very important to have an education. So as I was saying, like the guys, they literally come in and out. Seen Jared for 1 year, and then I see him whenever he visits every now and then. So like, it's like very important to have, at least for me, have an education and have something to fall back on. And like coming to an institution like Duke, it is one of the most prestigious schools in the country, and like it is very just as important to be successful on the court and make the videos and the ads and this, that, and the third, as it is to like pour into your academics and get as much as you can out of Duke. Like my teammate Ashlyn Jackson, she um just graduated in 3 years, and like I wanted to
Yeah.
do that, but I started a little too late. But I mean, that's like what I like see as like taking advantage of the opportunity, and like I mean, she's gonna graduate with the masters like from here when she's done playing basketball. So it's just like things like that. Like you can't replicate that anywhere else, and you can't like no, we can bounce in basketball as much as we can. It's not going to do what a degree in education can. So I think that's the biggest thing for, at least I feel like, women.
Yeah.
Um, just like the student athlete part, like it isn't very important, but it also is very possible that you can just be an athlete and like barely do anything student wise. So yeah.
Yeah, with the advent of NIL, I'd be curious to hear your perspectives on how that's personally like impacted you and also the people around you.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think. It definitely has made a great impact on me and the people around me. I think that when it first started happening, I was like very confused. Like I was like,
Yeah.
so basically, all the popular people are just gonna like be posting a bunch of videos and they're gonna get money for it. That sounds cool. And then like it became like a more institutional thing, and like then we got
Yeah.
schools involved and like really really big businesses and multi-million dollar contracts, and it's just like it's so crazy to me. Like it's really crazy to me that people even younger than me are like millionaires or like signing six-figure contracts.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's very special. I think like it's honestly it everything comes with harm. So like many people will be like, oh, NIL ruined like basketball and the transfer portal, this, that, and third. And like, sure, it might have, I don't know. But like at the same time, it has created opportunities for people that probably would have never seen those opportunities if they didn't play college basketball or, had the opportunity to do NIL. So, yeah, I think it's a really cool thing. And I think it's great. And, definitely in support of making money. So,
And do you think it's like a good thing or a bad thing for the
yeah,
sport for, people that are only 18, 19,
yeah,
20 years old to be making this much money and have to
yeah,
focus on their finances and
right.
education and play basketball?
Yeah, I think yeah, I think it's both. I think it's a good and a bad thing. I think the good thing is, as I was saying, that people can make money who probably would have never, like, the money that I could possibly make in college, I probably would have never seen until, like, I was, like, I don't know, 30 years old or something. So, like, or even past that. So, I don't know. But, like, it's just, like, it's incredible for that. But I do agree with there are really young kids who I feel like lose their innocence, I'd say. I mean, we're obviously becoming adults, but, like, you kind of just lose that, like, I don't know, ability to be young and naive with
Yeah.
like NIL and like especially the people around you, like having I don't know, like I don't know everyone's situation, but like let's say you have a parent that really wants you to go to this school just because they're gonna give you all this money, but you really hate the environment or like you know you'll hate it there. Like it's just like things like that. Just like I think the people you surround yourself with and like who influences you and what influences you, that will kind of destroy NIL and like even
Yeah.
like the transfer portal, just like we had someone transfer from my school and like not to be like dramatic, but like it took a lot out of me just because like I was very close to this person and like it was because of it was just because she thought she had a better opportunity somewhere else, and it's just like those are the times I'm like, okay, well damn you, like NIL, like it's just like it
Yeah.
sucks, but at the same time I guess it does provide opportunity. So I don't know, love hate relationship with it. Like I could go without
Yeah.
it, but at the same time I do understand, what they're trying to do. So
What you mentioned that emphasis on trusting the people around you, and I don't think it's just about money, but it's about
yeah.
success in general.
Hmm.
What have you learned about how to find true people who you can trust, who you can focus on and
Yeah.
let into your circle versus those that are just full of air and wouldn't really have your back in the hard times?
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I definitely had to learn when I first got here. And it's not even the people here at Duke. It's just a life lesson I had to learn in general. I like am an overshare. So like if you sit me down for like 10 minutes, you learn too much about me. Like it's just like something a trait I have. But yeah, I would share a lot, and like in return, I probably wouldn't get a lot, or like it wouldn't be like
Yeah.
they wouldn't take my information with my best interest at heart. And yeah, I think that being here and like just growing older and becoming more mature, you kind of realize, like I don't know, you kind of like, at least for me, I feel like I just pick them out, like like you pick out a person who can like
Yeah.
who will be on your side or not be on your side, or like they'll fake be on your side and they're not really be on your side. Like I think it's just like when you kind of realize who you are as a person, like when you understand who you are, then you can understand like the people that you want around you, and that is something I had to learn the hard way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And what have you learned about like money and investing and taking care of your finances at such a
Yeah.
young age? And what advice would you give to those, other college athletes that are also dealing with the same thing and encountering large amounts of money for the first time?
Yeah, I literally just had a meeting with a financial advisor before this, but I'm still learning so much because like I don't know enough at all. Like I just had to do my taxes this year, and I was like, oh my God, this is too much. Like I'm so stressed. But like I literally thought they're gonna come banging on my door, being like, you didn't fill your taxes out. Like, but no, I think what you have to do, like what works for me is just like asking like too many questions almost. So just like ask as many questions as possible, and like I feel like everyone knows someone, so like
Yeah.
everyone has a connection to someone you might need. And like my head coach, she like knows people from like Liberty Mutual and like just like in like Nationwide, like just like random like things like that. And like or the person I met with, she actually works on our staff, and we were just talking about like an LLC, and like I had no idea what that was. I still don't really know what it is, but like I just know I need to get one,
Yep.
and that I need to like make it soon. So like I don't know, just like asking a lot of questions and making sure that like don't be afraid to like ask for help and like receive help from people, because there's so many things that I feel like we just, at least for me, I feel like I did not know, or like I thought I did know, but I just had no idea what I was doing. So yeah, asking a lot of questions, and like I'm sure there's someone that you know who can connect you to someone that you need. So
Yeah, I think it's sort of backwards in that being in college is usually seen as the initial start, which leads to something else. But with
yeah.
NIL, you're
Mhm.
sort of making a large amount of money at this point in time.
Yeah.
Is there any part of you that thinks, I'm gonna redshirt, I'm gonna spend as many years as I
Yeah.
can at Duke, do
Yeah.
graduate programs, do a PhD, transfer to other schools, do whatever I can,
Right.
stay connected to a program to focus on NIL, or
Mhm.
within the WNBA, salary aside, are there still just as many opportunities through sponsorships and brand deals?
Yeah. I would say that it is definitely 1,000% easier to do that in college, and see it happen all the time with people like just pulling out years. Like there's like 25-year-olds, and I'm like, I don't know how that's possible, but congrats to you. Um, but yeah, no, I do see why people do that. I would never. I just think that I would do my 4 years and just get up out of here. Like God willing, I'm able to make it to 4 years without having a red shirt. But yeah, I do see why people do that, and I do understand like you're taking advantage of the opportunity, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm kind of like a by the book person. I feel like I just like don't like. We came to play basketball for 4 years. We had no idea that NIL was going to happen when we started playing basketball. So like, why now switch it up and kind of like, not saying that your morals are different, but like, I don't know, being money hungry and then being like hungry, if that makes sense. I feel like are two different things. Like I feel like it's more of like a greed thing than like a passion, or like, oh, I want to play here and win a championship, like something like that. So that is what I would differentiate between like the whole transferring and like NIL type of thing. Like I think there's greed, and then I think there's like actually wanting to win, or actually needing a different environment, things like that. And I mean, I'm not like God, I'm not gonna like, I can't judge, but that's just how I feel about that. So
I want to ask you like 7 or 8 short answer questions, like anywhere from like up to 30 seconds would be great.
yeah.
Um, the first of which is, do you think within your collegiate career that Duke women's basketball will win a national championship?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
How are you going to make that happen?
Oh, well, I have 2 years left, so definitely next year I need to make that happen. We're going for the Final Four next year, so.
And what do you think was the difference maker between, not getting there this year and being able to make it next year?
Well, technically, if we're speaking, 2 layups. But no, I just think more focus and just not. I don't know. I think we went in there less confident. So I would say just being more confident. We've been there before, and I think that would help us next year.
This leads me into the next short answer is you focus on this throughout the podcast is your strong emphasis on having a fierce mindset.
Hmm.
Where does that come from? How have you developed that? And, how does that come out into your playing?
Yeah. Honestly, I think I'm still developing it, but I think that being around the people I am, like having the coach I have, like Coach Kara, many people say she doesn't have a personality, but like I think she does, and like she has just like taught us to like, there's nothing too hard, there's nothing that you can't do, and I think that once you are able to get through that mental block of like, oh, this sucks, I can't do it, when like, yes, I can, and I'm going to do it, like it just changes everything. Like I don't know. I think it's just something you have to develop and kind of be in to fully understand. But yeah,
And how can people that have, because it seems like you naturally sort of had that bite and
hmm,
willingness to compete in that drive, and
yeah,
that's something I can empathize with. But for
hmm,
people that have never had that bite or willingness to kind of get over that hurdle within their mind, what
yeah,
advice would you give to them for them to be able to do the same?
yeah. I don't know if I was born with it, but I think I definitely have developed it. And what I have done to do that is pour myself, or have people pour into me and allow them to. Like I hate receiving help. I hate like asking for help. I hate like seeming weak, or like weak minded. But like those like weakest moments, I feel like build me up to like, there's like nothing else that could phase me. Like,
Yeah.
so I've done the worst, or I felt the worst of the worst that I could feel, like, and like talking to people and like asking for help, or like asking for like a confidence boost from like a coach, like on a random Tuesday morning. Like it's just like things like that. Like I think allowing people to pour into me and not being afraid to be vulnerable and like just allowing yourself to be vulnerable, I would say.
What's a common misconception people might have about you?
Common misconception. Probably that I'm a little bit mean, but I'm not. I just on the court, I have two different personalities. So yes, very nice.
What would you do differently if you started your collegiate basketball career again?
Ooh, it's a good one. I would probably. Oh, I don't know. I'd probably get a therapist.
Yeah.
I'd probably get a therapist just so I can have someone to talk to about like the struggles because I waited too long to talk to someone. So yeah, not like I was depressed, but just like just you need someone to vent to. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the best piece of advice someone has ever given you?
Mm. Okay, this sounds really dumb, but it just like sinks in my head every time someone asks me this question. But I had a coach. His name was Brian Dickerson for Takeover, and we he like cusses a lot, like cusses like a sailor, and like he would always be like, "Finish the effing game," and like I like took that with me like literally through anything. So like as I was saying, like missing reps or like being in the gym by myself, like the end game for me is to be a professional and to play at the highest level and be drafted on draft day. So I know that I have all these things I have to do to get there, and I know what I have to do to get there. And like for me, that's like finishing the effing game. So like even like U19 gold medal like championships, like the trials for that, I literally would write FTFG on my wrist every day for trials before I got picked to the team, and be like, I'm like gonna finish this out, and like I'm gonna do the best I can and finish. It's like I don't know, it's like dumb, but like at the same time, like it means so much to me just because like when you feel like you're giving up, when you feel like you have like nothing else to give, like you're like almost there. Like when I feel like when the worst part happens, that is when you're like right there. So yeah, those are the wise words of Brian Dickerson.
What does happiness mean to you, and how do you pursue it?
Ooh, these are good questions. I'm gonna like steal
Thank
these.
you.
Happiness. Um, I would say happiness for me is being surrounded by people I love and like just like being as openly truthful and like feeling as free as possible. Like I have, well, Emma, as you've named, is my like literal best friend in the whole world, and like just talking to her, like you just like I just like feel happy, and I'm like, why do I feel happy? Like it's like ugh, like it's like icky. But like at the same time, I just like I'm as being as open and honest as possible, and I feel like when you're really truthful with yourself, even like when I was saying about the whole basketball thing, like I was like not being truthful per se, just because I was like, oh, I don't need to talk to him, or like, oh, I don't need to like do this extra film, or like, oh, what they're saying, I need to do like extra work, like I don't need to do that, and I wasn't being truthful for myself. And then when I started feeling like good about myself and like happy, like I was being honest and open and like just like me and not like kind of filtering that for anyone or anything. So yeah.
How do you define success in life?
Success in life. What if I just said it was true happiness? um Success in life, it's a good one. I'd say I don't want to say happiness 'cause I just talked about happiness, but
It's
like
fine.
I guess yeah, I guess just being happy, like just like at the end of like everything when you come home to your house or whatever, like you like are just happy and you're content and you're like there's nothing else more I need in life, and it could be like a little small shack or it could be like a really big mansion, whatever like suits anyone's world, but yeah, just like being content and like being happy with what you have. I feel like this is as successful as you can be. Like that's how I feel. Like I mean, obviously I want to be like a 20-point scorer, but like at the same time I made an all defensive team, and like that to me is like success. So, I'm happy with that, and I'm like, I can wake up every morning and be proud of that. So, yeah.
I've got three more short answer ones and then three
Okay.
final ones.
No, you're
Uh,
good.
of the short answer ones, what do you think your purpose in life is?
This is a great question. Okay, I literally just talked about this week. I think I don't want to sound cocky, but as I was saying, I feel like I'm very nice, and I think my purpose in life is just to be very nice to people and like just like be one of the kindest people that they meet. Cause like I take pride in that, and like even though people might do me dirty or like I don't know, they're not the nicest people or whatever. Like I always like try to make sure I'm kind no matter what. Like you could have just yelled at me in my face and I would have been like, not like I'm sorry, but I just feel like, I'll still be kind to you. I'll still be cordial. Like the next time I see you, I would like say hello. I'll give you a hug. So like,
Like,
I don't
why?
know.
Why is that important to you?
I don't know.
went
That's
the
how
same
I
route?
like grew up. Like I just like when I was younger, like I was really shy. I hated talking to people, and like now I can't shut up. And like I just like I don't know. I think I've always had that little kindness, like little sweet, gene in me. So I don't know. I think that is what I'm here for, just to be super kind to people.
What important lessons has life taught you?
Ooh, this is great. Speaking of basketball, um, probably that just nothing is too hard to overcome, and that like I kept saying it this whole time, but just like when you think that you're there, like when you think that like this is the wall, like I promise you can get past it. Like it's just like I don't know, like life is hard, basketball's hard, that's just the way it is. And I think that I have just learned and appreciated that we're like capable of so much more than we think we possibly could be. And that, like the brain is such a powerful thing, and that like once you are able to like kind of understand it and like figure out yourself, I feel like, life just becomes a bit more easier. So,
And the last of the short answer questions before three final big questions.
mhm.
How do you look after yourself when you face adversities?
ah, this is a good question. Yeah. So if you asked me last year, I'd be like, I'd probably just go watch Netflix and never like look at a basketball. And then now I would say that I would probably go hang out with friends or like, I don't know, go talk to someone I like. And then, I don't know, I would journal probably, or just like think in my feelings, think in my thoughts, and then kind of go from there. Like figure out a game plan of how to get past adversity, or ask for help to get past it, or I don't know, move on from it. But yeah.
And what's next for you? You can look
Mhm.
at a scope of 3 months, a year, 5 years, 10
Yeah.
years. Like, what's next for Jadyn?
I'll do the 3 months because I feel like I don't know. It sounds like more interesting. But
Yeah.
the next 3 months for me, I'm gonna be here playing basketball, doing workouts. But I'm planning on doing a back to school drive for books and basketballs. I'm planning on going on a trip for vacation, and I
Very
don't know,
nice.
just like being happy, just like living life. I love the summertime because it feels like summer camp, like not real life.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm just gonna like enjoy summer, enjoy my friends, enjoy my family, and yeah.
And my penultimate question, if I
Mhm.
was to ask someone in 100 years or 150 years' time, how would you want to be described and what would you want your legacy to be?
Mm. How would I want to be described? Uh, I'd probably say the kindest thing is a big thing for me. I just want someone to be like, she was a very sweet person. She like never treated me in any rude way. That I could go to her about anything at any time. Very loyal, very trustworthy. Um, but yeah, that's my biggest thing. I hope someone would say.
Well, thank you very much for coming on Personable, Jadyn. I really love the way you think about things. And as you can
Oh,
probably
thank you.
tell, I went from 8 questions to about 25 short answer questions.
No, thank you.
I was trying to optimize the amount of questions I could get in there. Listening to, the sort of contradiction between your level of fierceness and kindness, I think is
Mhm.
something that
Yes.
everyone can take away, and being competitive and going for the things that you want, but also being kind and willing to give back.
Right.
It actually makes me willing to, run through a wall, ready to, in my own journey.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
and I think I'm going to take forward, finish the fucking game in every
Yes.
season of my life. So thank you so much, Jadyn.
No, thank you.